Greetings. Welcome to Film Gazers, a podcast focusing on the science fiction, horror, fantasy trinity, and 20th century entertainment. I'm Steph.
I'm Jess. We're cousins/besties. Join us as we reminisce, discuss, and review films from our childhood.
All right, everybody. Got a big special episode for you right now.
That's happening.
It's begun. Mary Jane March is ending. Well, I wanted to say with a bang, but with a bong. I don't know.
With a bang with a bong.
With a bang with a bong. This episode, we are reviewing The Last Deal, which you can find on Stars and Encore, Amazon, and Tubi. And we are getting to interview the director.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Very exciting. Very cool. Our first time on the podcast. So thanks for the opportunity.
Yes.
They reached out to us on Instagram. We've mentioned this in our previous episodes if you've been listening. And yeah, this is the episode. So we're going to get to that interview later, and then you'll have our review after that. We have Animation April also coming up. That's going to be Troll in Central Park and The Swan Princess.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Yeah, we feel like they were underrated animated movies from our childhood. And we haven't seen them since then. Mm-hmm. So that'll be fun to go back to. Other than that, what you been watching, what you been doing?
I've actually been watching Botched
again.
I just finished it.
For the millionth
time. And still going through Supernatural.
Yes.
And I've still been doing a lot of yard work.
Oh. We're getting ready to do that tomorrow. We're going to work on our compost pile. We're going to make one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Doing it.
Doing it well.
So not a lot of movies and TV watching for you this week then.
I'm sure I watched something in between there.
You're like, but nothing of importance.
Nothing comes to mind. Besides this movie, actually.
Yeah.
We watched this one.
Nice. What did I watch this week? It was it's been a very hectic week. It's the start of spring break now. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and we were out of town last week.
Yeah, that's right. You were. Oh, so we finally finished the Divergent series.
Mm-hmm.
It ended poorly.
How did it end again? I can't remember.
I don't know. It got into some weird kind of eugenics stuff, and I don't know. Jeff Daniels is the bad guy, basically. That was not expected for him to even be in this film, to be quite honest. It came out of left field. So yeah, I didn't like how it ended, really. I don't know. It felt like they didn't know where they were going, or they rushed everything. Everything felt very crammed at that, because there was 40 minutes of the movie left, and we're like, how is this gonna end? What exactly is gonna happen? And I don't know. It just felt like a big letdown, I guess. It was just overall letdown, because I did enjoy the first one just fine for the kind of movie it was, and then the second movie kind of maintained the momentum. And she had her severe Karen haircut.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
It was very funny. Yeah. So, but yeah, didn't really appreciate the end of the trilogy. We also watched The Bodyguard.
Oh, with Whitney?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. That was my jam.
Andrew didn't remember it, or I don't know if he'd even seen it before.
And Kevin Costner is his true love.
Yeah. So we rewatched that. I finally watched The Hangover.
Oh, you never seen that?
I had never seen it. For it to be as infamous as it is. Mm-hmm. So when I watched it, I was like, this is very tame. It was not as crazy as I was expecting, I guess.
I guess it's pretty old now, though.
Yeah, I guess. And it was pretty, been hyped up all these years. So, I mean, it still had funny parts. It made me laugh in certain areas. But overall, too, I was like, oh, it was fine. It was an okay comedy, I guess. We tried to watch Resident Evil. It was very hard to get through.
Which one?
The 2002 one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With, I'm sorry. With Mila.
Jovovich.
Well, Andrew is a huge fan of the video game series. And it doesn't really go by the video games at all. And a lot of the plot in the games is really cool and it would be useful in a movie, but they never seem to like get it right when they try to make a live action anything of it. So yeah, so for that, I was kind of, I guess a little bit of a letdown on some of the movies. I was a little disappointed in others this week of like, oh, it wasn't as good as I remember. Because like I remember in 6th grade being like, oh, this movie's super cool. But I hadn't played the video game either. And now I know better. So now I can't approve.
I vaguely remember the movie.
Yeah.
From watching it back then.
Yeah, and it had a cool soundtrack at the time. Like Slipknot was on it.
Nice.
Like, oh, so super cool. Remember getting the bootleg from a friend. Like
yeah, that's how I got it too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, overall though they were all kind of letdowns. So that's kind of all I'd been doing too. Yeah, just watched a few movies, a lot of work and getting ready for this.
Yeah. Getting pumped.
Getting pumped.
This moment.
Oh, and of course we've been watching some of our anime. Like that's always assume that's what I've watched also during the week.
At least in the background.
At least one episode, yeah, at least one. Did I tell you that I also finished Little Women?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. So I finished it. Turns out it's a whole fucking series.
Oh.
I had no idea.
I never heard that.
How did I never hear of all the other books? They're like Good Wives and Little Men and like something else. Like there's a whole fucking series. So that's why the movies, I guess, you get kind of confused because they've crammed, it seems like 5 books almost into one film.
Okay.
Because like in Little Women, she doesn't even meet the German man. Gabriel Brin. But yeah, so I didn't even get to that part. So I feel like I still didn't get any resolution. I'm like, okay.
Like, well, I guess I'm still waiting.
So yeah, so I'm gonna have to read the whole series now.
Well,
it's fine.
To look forward to.
Yeah, but I still was like, because I was getting real close. I had like 20 pages left. I was like,
how are they gonna wrap this up?
I was like, is it gonna be just like an epilogue? Like, what is going on? No, it's a whole series.
I hate when that happens though. You're like, I wasn't expecting that.
No, I was not expecting it.
It's like leaving on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it really was. So in this episode, we watched 2023's The Last Deal. It's an hour and 31 minutes long. Written and directed by Jonathan Salemi. Stars Anthony Molinari, Sala Baker, Jeffrey Lauren, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mike Ferguson, and Audra Van Hees. It was produced by a very long list of people. This was a lower budget film. I'm guessing a lot of people probably pitched in. That is going to be one of our questions. From the list of what I could gather, most of the executive producers were Mary Albanese, Anthony Molinari, Danny Simone, and Justin Ross, and also the director was also the producer.
Nice.
The music was by Tony Fiala. Cinematography was by Dominic Lopez, and it was edited by Ryan Liebert. It had a world premiere at the Boston International Film Festival on April 15th, 2022. He also took home Best Director Award at that festival, so That's awesome. The film later screened at Dances with Films on June 10th, 2022 at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood, California. It received a limited 22 theater release in the U.S. on February 3rd, 2023. And then that was before it premiered on Stars in June 2023. Nice. So any of those moments you could have been exposed to this film, and now it is available, as we've mentioned, on those other platforms. So with that is usually when I would say I'm going to jump into the fun facts, but now I can say we're going to jump in to the interview with the writer, director, producer of The Last Deal, Jonathan Salemi. Well, greetings. Thank you so much for letting us do this interview today. We're really looking forward to it.
Likewise.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm Stephanie, and Jess is the co-host. We're
I'm Jess.
cousins, and we've been doing this podcast for a while. So we're gonna go ahead and just start the thing.
All right. Very cool. Well, thanks again for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
To start, a little lighthearted, what are some of your favorite movies and directors that have influenced you as a filmmaker?
Favorite movies, I always go back to like Jaws, Predator. Um,
Mm,
We love
all good
Predator.
ones.
Yeah.
yeah. Directors, I'd say like heavily influenced from the 70s. So I really like the gritty filmmaking style. And then of late, Christopher Nolan, I think he's probably
hmm
up there as one of the best of all time.
No, absolutely. Very cool. So for the last deal, we saw that it was like based on true events or like inspired by a true story. Which part or parts that you could legally share with us are grounded in some of truth?
That's funny. Yeah, I can share legally all of it. Maybe some of the names I can't, but yeah. So basically, the based on true story is twofold. One is the social climate of what was going on legally
Mhm.
with the black market dealers. They were like being squeezed out because cannabis was becoming legal.
Yeah.
And so all of those factors are completely real and the rules around it. The personal level, a good buddy of mine was growing since like 2005, I want to say.
Mhm.
And he's actually, if you watch the movie, you guys have watched it, but the gentleman in the red t-shirt in the back of the dispensary back room that's
Oh,
getting his arm twisted. So
yeah.
he's a legit grower and um, he has his own dispensary and his own delivery license.
Oh, very
And
cool.
yeah, and so I learned a lot from him watching the evolution from 2005 to being like gangbusters to like 2015 to like the carpet being pulled out or the rug being pulled out from under him. And then the other elements of the movie, like all the violence and all that stuff is all made up. But he legitimately did have people coming after him at times and stuff
Oh,
like that. So,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, so there's a few elements in there that are all completely legit.
Nice, nice. We also read that it was on one of the articles linked on the film's website, talking about a lot of U.S. military veterans were employed, both front and behind the camera. So we were just wondering, was this due to having so many stuntmen and a stunt coordinator being involved in the film?
Yeah, no, it's a
Mhm.
good find. It wasn't a conscious choice at first. So, a good friend of mine, Tracy, I needed a producer to come aboard to run the ship on the day to day. And she is a Navy veteran. And she came aboard. And then when she came aboard, she brought her veteran friends with her. And I was like, oh, this is great. I really like that we're doing this. And then towards the end of the movie in the third act, the hitman's daughter that appears,
Mhm.
Mm.
Linda, I believe, I don't want to misquote it, but she was either a Marine or in the Army.
Oh,
And
very cool.
Mm. I could
yeah,
see that.
and
Yeah.
yep. Because I definitely wanted someone that could hold a gun and make it look legit. And
Yeah.
then during the club scene, where the Tabitha, who's the lead's girlfriend.
Yes.
She's talking to a guy afterwards, and then she talks to him again later in the film.
The one he was jealous over.
Correct. He
Okay.
is a veteran as well. Um, so yeah, there's at least over a handful.
Wow, yeah, very cool. We're from a very military heavy area. So yeah, we caught that one instantly.
It was
We're
great.
like,
It was
very cool.
great.
Yeah, you could tell like even in yeah, some of the cast the way they hold themselves, you're like, oh, it makes sense. I would think that vets would get into the stunt business and different things like that.
Yeah, yeah, it was nice because like my dad is a veteran, my grandfathers were
Mm.
veterans. So when it started, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And now it's something that I would like to continue from film to film. One of the funny things too is there's a lot of American flags in the movie, and that was completely unconscious. Like everywhere we went had an American flag there. And
Nice.
it got to a point that we noticed this because there's so many locations in the movie, and we
Mhm.
noticed that there's just so many flags. And I was thinking, I was like, hey, is somebody gonna think I'm making some type of like political statement here? Or not like there's anything wrong with that. I was like, maybe we should limit some of the flags. So we
Yeah.
had to like legitimately, there's a couple places where we made sure to frame out the flag.
Yeah.
Um,
You're like, this is a little too much.
Starting to look like a country music video.
Yeah, it was getting very heavy-handed. But like I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like there was actually when he's driving to his mother's house, and I'm showing the landscape, there's like a huge American flag in Santa
Yes,
Clarita.
we
Like,
caught that one. We have one here in Florida as well, I
We
believe
have there's a
that
couple of them
there's a couple of
actually.
them here that
right,
are
right. And
probably
it's
that.
it's a beautiful flag. And I was like, all right, well, F it, we'll show that one too.
Yeah.
That's a nice flag.
Yeah.
So we know this was a low budget film, but was this completely self crew funded, or were you able to find some investors for it also?
The latter. So it was a bit of my money coupled with investors. So it started
Nice.
off, I needed to or wanted to make a commercial movie that would get out there and get seen. And I wasn't getting enough opportunities. And I said, hey, no matter what, I know on my own, I can put in 25 to $50,000, call it, from like whether it be like savings and credit card and loan and stuff like that. And so I went into it with that type of model that I would make this low budget film, lots of outdoor locations, all that stuff. And it just grew, and we ended up raising another, call it 150,000
Oh, awesome.
or more. And it was nice the way it just like organically grew. And as we wrapped production and I had to go into post, we then got an investor that came in with $20,000 and that paid for my editor. So it was very seamless,
Awesome.
the whole thing, how it just like when I needed the money, it came. And
It was, it was meant to
yeah,
be.
it was meant to be like, and,
Yeah.
and that was actually like, this is the first time I'm thinking of it since like 2021, 2020 when we shot it. But like when I started the film, I was like thinking like the Blues Brothers, they were on a mission from God. I
Yes,
was
that's one of
Mhm.
our favorites.
nice. Yeah, they keep saying it like we're on
I'm
a
on a
mission from
mission from
God.
God.
I kept seeing these events happening as I was making the movie, and I kept that to myself. I was like, I'm on a mission from God.
Yeah.
And I just felt so confident that like the funding would keep coming when I needed it, and it just did. And now I can finally, I think this is the first podcast that I've actually said that out loud, like a
Nice.
year after the film
Oh.
came out.
Oh, we're honored. You manifested.
Yeah, you asked the question.
All
Nice.
right. So, in another article, we saw where you said you were partially inspired by John. I'm gonna butcher this name.
Cassavetes.
Yes, there we go. It is okay. So I was thinking it was right, and you said it was very guerrilla style noir. Which film were you specifically referring to?
There's a movie from I want to say 76 called The Killing of a Chinese Bookie.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those film school movies you watch, and it's shot very independently, like in the style.
Okay.
Um,
I'll have to
like it
check
may
that one.
not hold up, like you wouldn't be able to use the title nowadays, not like there's anything
right.
Yeah.
bad around it, like, but you're like marking somebody. But it was basically a guy who was a gambler and he was behind on his luck and he was getting markers at the gambling table, like illegal underground type of thing.
Mhm.
And he ended up owing these guys like 25 or $30,000 that he couldn't afford. So they said, oh, to pay us back, there's this rival gang and we want you to kill him. And it's just this Chinese gang.
Mm.
And so the goal was for him to kill the leader of the gang, and then it would be over. And so he went there, he killed the leader of the gang, and now when he's thinks his debt is done, now the guys are going to cross him and kill him. So yeah,
Nice. Very,
and
yeah.
that's basically what the last deal is.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah,
Yeah,
it's the classic noir almost, but
yeah.
just yeah, with your own twists and turns. Oh, Jess, you had one actually,
About that.
and yeah, kind of in genre.
When you had said earlier about you like the gritty crime drama that really came through in the last deal, because I was like, it's really reminiscent of like an 80s, especially with the soundtrack, which we both
Yeah.
really loved.
Hmm.
Was
Yep.
there an inspiration for that? Like, did you have a hand in that in the soundtrack?
Yeah, I knew directly from the beginning I wanted to do a synthwave soundtrack. And
Nice.
again, like you guys were saying, very 80s inspired and almost 90s. And so a good buddy of mine, Scott, Scott Toomey, he has his own synthwave show. And I knew he was very connected to all the synthwave guys. And so he was the music supervisor, got all the synthwave tracks. And then his brother-in-law, Tony Fiala, who's been scoring with me for 10 or 12 years together on different shorts and features and stuff. We said to him, like, hey, make sure you put like a bit of a synthwave feel into your score. So
Nice.
it was a very deliberate like effort, very Miami Vice, cool, sexy 80s kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, what we were discussing was because it was so funny. Jess and I hadn't talked for a couple of days, and then when we've got together today discussing, we both kind of came to the same conclusion of like Tangerine Dream vibes.
Yes. Yeah,
And okay, cool, yeah. And then also it made us both think of, have you seen the 81 Michael Mann Thief with James Caan?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we felt, yeah, we kind of got also like a vibe of that from this one as well. And especially with the soundtrack, because they Tangerine Dream did Thief. So we were just wondering if, yeah, that was like one of the gritty crime dramas that maybe helped influence you in this one.
You guys are completely spot on. So
Awesome.
when I went in to write the script, I've seen Thief, but I never read the script. And before I wrote the last deal, I was like, hey, let me read Thief. And so I read Thief. That was the only script that I read like
Wow.
for inspiration going into the film. And then Tangerine Dream, like Lovin' a Real Train and all the Risky
Mhm.
Business songs. Every
Hmm.
script I write, I use that score.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
there's actually in the if you look at the train scene in the movie, not the
Mhm.
train scene in Risky Business, but in the last deal where he's doing the deal with the Armenians and they're at the
Mhm.
train,
Mhm.
that score right there is from a group in Europe and I think they're LA Nighthawk, I think is the name of the group. And it's a direct Tangerine Dream song.
Oh,
Pretty
okay.
yeah.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
So who would you say was your favorite character in the movie in the last deal?
Of course, I like them all.
Hmm.
I mean, it comes back to your lead. Like the lead is essentially me, just in a very hyper exaggerated situation. So Vince would be my favorite. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
That's
He's the hero, yeah.
yeah, there you go. So this film we saw categorized a lot online as like action, and that kind of was the first like genre of it when I was looking it up in certain areas. But yeah, we definitely saw it more as that dark, gritty crime drama. The action sequence weren't the main focus. The violence used was necessary to progress Vince's story. With that in mind, and this was Anthony Molinari's first lead role, do we know how he prepared and took on this role differently for Vince since it was the lead and not one of his more stunt or action heavier roles?
yeah. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's more of a crime thriller. I think just certain distributors or whoever put it up called it an action film.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's his first lead role, like you mentioned, and he dove right into it, like head first, and he was completely submerged in it, studied as much as he could, listened to me all the time for every suggestion I had or inspiration. I tend to I like the films having a very like high anxiety feel, almost
Yeah.
like,
Nailed
but
it.
thank
Yes,
you, thank
it
you.
does.
So like I think it was like day 3 of shooting and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey, I write these with a high anxiety, and like that's where your character is coming from. And he did a great job of doing that, and bringing his own to it. Like he's a great character actor and great actor, and he's done roles in Barry. He's worked with Christopher Nolan a few times. He's on the Odyssey right now, shooting in Greece.
I just watched
Oh.
him in The Fighter,
The
like,
Fighter.
yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I think. My husband was watching it, and I was like, wait, I think that's. And I
Yeah,
looked it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is.
he's in all these things. He's in Black
Yeah.
Mass. Like I was so
Oh, I
fortunate.
just
All
watched that.
the yeah. He's in Black Mass, and he does a great job of playing these like casually cool guys, and that's just him. Like he doesn't get afraid in front of the camera. There's some very like there's a lot of ease he has in front of it, and I think a lot of it has to do with like he's only worked with like the biggest directors like Eastwood
Yeah.
um and the list goes on. I can't think of them all right now, and he's doubled for George Clooney a couple of times and Matt Damon
Oh,
and
nice.
Wahlberg. And being around these guys, I can't help but think don't you can't help but learn from osmosis or absorbing.
Hmm.
Chris Nolan has a shine to him right now. Like he knows him by name, and he likes the things he does, like the little improv things he does. If you get a chance to watch Barry, like they
Mhm.
shut down the 210, 214, I think it's 210, 210 freeway in LA. So the freeway shut down for this scene, and he's doing his own improv and not from like a cocky standpoint or anything like that. He does it and there's an article with Bill Hader because he directed the episode, and he's like, yeah, I saw Anthony do that. I just couldn't stop laughing. So just a gift. And the other ones too, like I was saying, like James Logan, who's even the weed, the cannabis inspector guy that Vince
Mhm.
pays off in front of downtown. Like
Yes.
you've seen that guy on Cobra Kai, you've seen him
I
in
knew he looked familiar. I know everyone, the whole cast was just, they were very good, phenomenal. Like everyone really held their own. And I really liked also the Solid Baker's role.
yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, Anthony Molinari did a great job for the lead character. Like you said, he's just really charismatic, and you can tell he kind of embodies like a leading man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But despite that, throughout the film, it kind of feels like Vince's string of bad decisions and poor judgments are triggered by I almost got like an inferiority complex from him because the business is kind of failing, really not even, due to his own fault. Everything like said going on the regulation level and all of that is part of the story, but he misplaces his trust in Bobby. You even show it with him feeling almost jealous of certain situations that his girlfriend is in, with her trying to like go for her career. So what was like, could you expand further on Vince's thought process of ignoring all the red flags? And was it more of like he just had this tunnel vision of what he wanted, or was there even motivations like self-sabotage where it seems sometimes where he doesn't want anything to work out and he just kind of wants to call it quits?
Yeah, I think it was the tunnel vision coupled with just the writer of the script, who's me, like wanting the character to fall off a cliff every 10 pages.
Yeah, okay. So you're
And
like, you just want to give him the obstacles while he has the tunnel vision.
exactly,
Okay.
and try to make them as organic as possible that they feel real. And it's just because I want you to watch the whole film and be entertained and feel what he's feeling and get deeper into this. Like you've watched enough of those like uncut gems with Adam Sandler type of movies where the character's just totally like fucking up constantly, but you root for him and want to see what happens in the end. And I've always just have been fascinated by those characters, which are your anti-heroes.
Hmm. They're more
Definitely.
relatable usually.
Exactly, exactly.
And
Because it feels like us. Like I think we love Hollywood films as an audience. We love seeing Top Gun and these characters that we may never be. But I think there's something that happened when like the Bournes came out, when now you have a lead actor that we all feel we can also be. It takes like the jacked up Stallone out of it and gives you like everything Mm.
The
Yeah.
everyday man.
Exactly. And that goes back to like the 40s noirs and the 50s noirs where you have an everyday man that gets in trouble. And I've just always been fascinated by those characters because that could be me and that could be you, and you can see yourself in the character.
And
Hmm.
it definitely throughout his story, it does feel like he's just getting thrown into some of these situations and he's just having to react.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's very like fast paced a little bit in that of he's just every day like, okay, what else is new and what else is going wrong?
exactly. And it's he's the one making the choices.
hmm Oh yeah, yeah. What was it that he said at the end? Where he's like, "Go big or go home.
Fortune favors the bold.
Fortune favors the bold."
Fortune favors the bold.
All right. So you did film this during the pandemic.
I did.
What hurdles did you guys have to face? I feel like the guerrilla style really was possible due to the shutdowns, and I'm sure that made some of it a little easier, actually. But what were, yeah, the hurdles because of the pandemic?
Yeah, so the biggest one was that no one got sick, and
Mhm.
no one did, which was great. So
Awesome.
made sure everyone tested beforehand. And when someone went away, they still tested, and no one had COVID on set nor got COVID, so that was amazing. So that's the biggest hurdle. And then the
Mhm.
guerrilla style was something I was going to do regardless. So I had the idea for the movie from the John Cassavetes film in October of 2019. And that's when the idea came to me for the film that I want to make. And I wrote the script. I was going to shoot in April. This is before even knowing about COVID. You know, January comes
Mhm.
along, we're hearing about this thing happening overseas. And then come March, it's just a huge shutdown. But I'm already on the script and I'm already ready to shoot in April. So I'm doing this no matter what with a guerrilla style. No matter what, it was going to be a guerrilla film. And then I had to postpone just a little bit just because of, COVID.
Mhm.
But we ended up shooting, I believe, in September. So during the lockdowns. But I was able to location scout all spring and summer with zero traffic in LA.
Wow.
Um, yeah, we shot all around LA. No one, the cops came a few times, but I've done guerrilla style so many times that we had a speech before every day. That was basically like, hey, if the cops come, just be polite, be respectful, and steer them towards me all the time. And everyone understood that, and everyone was pretty jazzed up about this guerrilla style of shooting. And I wanted to make sure everyone felt safe all the time, everyone felt comfortable, because it's an unconventional way of doing things. And everyone did. And there was sometimes like on the river where I was going to change the location because I was like, I'm putting all these people on a river in this like place we're not supposed to be. And everyone was like, no, fuck yeah, let's do it. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So that's great then. Yeah. So the guerrilla style, no matter what. Yeah. So like you said, you got a free freeway almost during location shooting. So that's almost like a once in a lifetime opportunity, probably. That's so cool. Like I said, it does sound like it was meant to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, I'm on a mission from God here.
Yeah, you parted the like the freeway sea.
Getting all these locations like that river. I came into that day learning how to break a lock because they sometimes lock the gates there because it's like a Department of Public Works site or something like that.
Okay.
And so I must have biked to the river or went to the river no less than 7 times before that shoot day, just to see one, where is the sun? Is there people around? Is there city workers around? When is the gate locked? Is it not locked? And I learned how to break a master lock in case I needed to get in there, because no matter what, I was going in there. And
That's
and
awesome.
this is an absolute true story because I'm sort of like the character of Vince, a tunnel vision no matter what this is getting made. So I was in Home Depot. This is 3 days before the shoot. This is an absolute true story. And I'm in Home Depot and I'm buying zip ties and plastic bags and all
Oh
these things
no.
for the movie, for the character and stuff like that. And then I had to buy two wrenches because if you look up how to break a master lock, if you take two wrenches and put each like tooth of the wrench
Mhm.
into the lock, into like the the U shape of the lock, you
Right.
Yeah.
put each one in there and then you pull the wrenches out, it'll break the lock. And so I'm learning
Ah.
this, and I didn't know what lock they'd lock it with in the day, so I bought some different wrenches. And I'm leaving Home Depot. I'm in the parking lot. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, like, and there's an expression, I think it was in, I forget what movie it was, but they were like, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And I sat down in the parking lot of the Home Depot on like where the trees are, like those trees in the middle of the parking lot, and there's like a curb
Yeah.
on it. I sat on the curb. I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like just because I can doesn't mean I should. And I'm like, hey, you're this deep in it. Everyone's coming. Just go out there and make your film. Just
You're
go.
like, you already bought the stuff.
I mean, you've been
Yeah.
staking out the place for days. Yeah. Like
You
at
already did
that
the
point,
recon.
you are committed.
No, I'm staking out every place. And
Yeah.
and the key to the guerrilla shooting is very like methodically done. Like I know exactly what's at that location, who's at that location. I introduce myself to everyone before I even shoot there. So like days before,
Mhm.
weeks before when I'm scouting, whoever I see around there, I'm like, hey, I'm Jonathan. I'm shooting this YouTube commercial down here, which is a lie, of course, but like the main
Yeah.
camera and stuff. And now they know me by name. I get their card. And even like when we were doing the buses and we're like, I have the bus schedule, I have the train schedule. I know all these things about the location before going in there. And I also know like I'll at least have a half hour to an hour that I can shoot there. And if the cops come, which they will eventually, I'll be nice and everything like that, and the cops will leave. And then I'll have
Mhm.
another half hour to an hour to shoot before they come back down. And that's all I need to get my shot.
Oh, that actually works out perfect with the next question we had. Was because we were considering, you didn't have necessarily hours upon hours, like on a closed set. But this sounds like this is how you did it, is going back and getting familiar enough to then just squeeze that time in. So when you're actually doing the shooting, what is the setup process? Like you said, if you have an hour and a half, how much of that is actual shooting, I guess, compared to just making sure your lighting looks good and, things like that.
Yeah. So on any given day, we'd roll up to the location. So we'd basically have three company moves a day, two or three company moves. And that's basically when the entire crew goes to one location and then we move to a completely different one.
Mm.
So we're at a location. We get there, everyone's like, hey, everyone's here, we got them, good. We block everything out, we look at how everything looks, make sure wardrobe's good, everyone knows their lines. We're probably up and shooting within 45 minutes to an hour when we land at that location. We shoot for about an hour, hour and a half, get all our coverage, and then we leave.
Nice.
That was
Yeah.
So
quick.
yeah, just in and out. Yeah.
But getting what
Very
you
cool.
need.
Yeah.
Um, There's the airport location, the one at night that Vince and his partner Carter are outside the
hmm
fence. Remember that
Yes.
one?
hmm
So that one, we're directly outside of Van Nuys Airport. And I actually, that was one of the few locations where I could shoot further down the road and it would be more safer. Like maybe no
Hmm.
cops would come and stuff like that. And I was talking to Dominic, my DP. I was like, but I would really love to go to this part, which is the part we shot at. He goes, well, let's go there. I was like, we're gonna have to be in the street right outside of the runway's right there. Like it's
Yeah.
you could just skip a rock and hit a plane if you want. And I'm like, I just feel like the cops are gonna shut us down. He's like, hey, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So we go there and we start shooting, and I just try to go as quickly as I can. And the cops drive by on the runway, they see us, and I wave and I'm friendly and this and that. And as we keep getting further into this coverage that we're shooting, we're now taking our lights, which are all battery powered, and bringing them further into the street. And now we're like almost blocking the entire street that we have a crew member now directing traffic.
Oh my God.
It's the complete like I'm like, we're totally greedy right now, but let's get all our coverage.
See what we can get away with.
Just have someone throw on the reflective vest and
Yeah, we had that.
yeah.
So
We belong here.
Yeah.
I got security hats, orange vests, all that stuff before the shoot. So it would look like we had
Smart.
like legitimate people there. Because if you make it look real, people will believe it.
But yeah, I mean, that's
Hmm.
100% true.
You just have to have that confidence that you
Yeah,
belong there.
exactly.
I had everything down to the fake permits. And I think I just ran out of time to make the fake permit.
Especially if you flash it real quick.
Yeah, no one's gonna know. Like it's like a 1980s police procedural. Like, hey,
At the end credits, I noticed that it said for all the workers in the cannabis industry that are fighting for legalization to create safer working environments. Is that a cause you were already passionate about, or was it the story movie that kind of sparked that interest for you?
that's a good catch. That was something I knew prior. So, my buddy, who the movie is somewhat based on, and then Jay, who owns Jolly Farms. That's the marijuana warehouses we shot at, and the outside grow fields that we shot at. My buddy Mike, who was very instrumental in helping get my locations. Mike has a company called Living Legends, and he has a lot of CBD products. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the people that are in the industry. And my father and me would trade cannabis stocks. And so we
Hmm.
knew a lot about the legalities and the government formalities with growing and taxes and stuff like that. And it's a legitimate thing. Like these people, a lot of them, they're not gangsters at all. They're like legit people that are trying to have their own business, do it legal, and they can't because it's federally
Hmm.
illegal. And so they're paying full taxes. There's no write-offs. They're paying probably 100 to 200% higher taxes than your normal business. They can't bank, they can't get credit cards. It's a lot of cash. And what happens is you end up getting robbed because people will know that you're a cash business.
Hmm.
And so I legitimately, those are like I feel for them and they're trying to have a legit business and they can't yet. So yeah, it just that was something I wanted to put into the end of the film.
Yeah, because that actually, when you said they can't get a loan, I never even thought about that before until I saw that in the film.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh shit, yeah, you can't.
No.
It's not federally legal.
No, they'll charge you if you want to bank. The bank will actually charge you to bank with them, and the fees are enormous.
Oh,
Oh.
that's
Yeah, and
terrible.
there's a ton of other stuff too. It's just it's wild. Like, granted, like you can make a lot of money doing it, and I think that's why it hasn't become legal yet, is because like there's a lot of money being made on these people that are growing and selling.
Well, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Was there any other fun facts you'd like to share?
You guys got a lot of them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We cover our
Um,
bases.
like the gorilla thing is fun. Like
Yeah.
we actually flew in a plane.
Oh,
It
Oh,
was,
that's
it
that's
awesome.
was-
oh, okay, cool. Was it the I don't know planes very well, but the smaller one that is
yeah, the Cessnas.
yeah. Oh, Cessna. There we go.
But yeah, that like you're making a low budget film. Here's a good example of that. So that was through a buddy of mine, Hunter Rogue. He's a pilot, and he knew a buddy, Donald Lucy, who has a plane, and we're on that runway. You saw like we are shooting on a legit runway.
Hmm.
We're shooting in a hangar. We shot in the plane. That's just Dominic, the DP, myself, Anthony, in the plane, and Donald or Donnie only charges the cost of the fuel.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Everything, yeah, was shot so well, and even in like a cramped condition, I'm sure like that. It really did feel like the whole movie did feel a bit like a love letter also to LA. And we didn't see a lot of the parts of LA that you don't really see sometimes, in film. Just even the little cut scenes, and I'm guessing you might have used some drone work as well. But all of that, yeah, it was just a very beautiful movie overall. So we did want to let you know how much we did enjoy it. It was just beautiful. Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that. It was important that like I wanted the viewer to not get the stereotypical low budget indie film where you're shooting in a few locations. I wanted them to feel like it was an epic movie. And I've been in LA for 20 years and I wanted to show the parts of LA that aren't the cliche parts that if you've been here for a while, you know about.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never been, not yet at least, but I feel like yeah, like even as someone who's never been there, you can tell that yeah, you love the town and that you can see other sides of it.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. I'm from New England, so I hope at some point I get the opportunity to do the same thing in Boston because
Very cool.
yeah, I know it so well there. That hopefully one day I'll have that opportunity.
Very cool. Well, kind of speaking of that, do you have any projects lined up or future projects on the horizon that you're ready to share?
Yeah, we got a few. Just a matter of what goes off first. Like the one that's furthest along the pipeline is this movie called Death Diner 76.
Ooh, I'm
And
super
it's
intrigued by that title.
yeah.
It gives me a little Undertaker and his pals vibes.
Right, right. Um, yeah, so it takes place in 1976 at a diner, and it's about a waitress on parole who's working the graveyard shift. And the head chef, Little Tony, has an infatuation with her and wants to start a killing spree in her honor so she can become famous like Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh, I love the sound of that. So hit us up when that's available.
Yeah, so we're moving along with that. We have an actress that we're in the later stages of talking with, pretty well known. You guys have seen her somewhere to play the lead role, and we're talking to another actress who's a well-known comedian to play the chef. We got it lined up. We're hoping that we get these last couple of yeses that we need, and then we can go shoot that. But you never know what's gonna hit. So like I've got that like another script that's a pure action script about a hitman, and then I have a new one I'm writing, which is in the style of The Last Deal. I'm actually on page 56 of that right now. And
Oh, very
then
cool.
and then we have a writer, my producing partner Jason and me are working with a writer, and we're doing our own version of, you know, those like Winnie the Pooh and Popeye the Slayer Man, and
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
we're doing our own version of that, like our own slasher film. It's a bit like Scream. It's not quite like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, but it's like inspired by a well-known person. And
Okay. Not Winnie the Pooh, but
not Winnie the Pooh. It's not even like any fictional character or anything like that. But but yeah, so you just never know. It's so hard making a movie, and it's challenging if you put all your eggs in one cart. So got a few things out there.
Yeah, like balance. Yeah, juggle a couple of projects at once. We can
Yeah.
only imagine. When we were young, we aspired. That was one of we would make like our own, at-home movies and everything. Our parents were pretty good about providing us with like a video camera and stuff. But yeah, the amount of work you guys have to do and all of the networking and marketing, like hats off to you because you definitely have to be dedicated and you've proven that you guys like really put a lot into the last deal. So congratulations on that, and I hope all of those pan out for you. The diner one sounds awesome to me, so
Right.
I'm really looking forward to that.
That's a fun one. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, thank you. And you know, it's not possible without a team and pe people around you. And I was just so fortunate to have Anthony and Sala and Mister and Jeffrey and Mike Ferguson and Audra and everyone that joined aboard, and then the entire crew that came aboard too to get it all made. You know, it takes a city.
yeah,
So, but yeah, very fortunate.
very cool, very cool. Well, I think that's the end of our questions. I'm sure we asked you enough.
Well, thank you.
And thanks again for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Appreciate it. The opportunity. I'm glad you guys liked the movie and were interested in it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So we love doing the podcast. We're just a bunch of movie lovers, and so this has been our first interview, actually. So, yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and you're our first guest on the show as well. So hopefully that'll kick off some things for us to make us a little more active.
It's amazing. I would never have known. You guys seem like seasoned pros.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
thank
thank you
you.
very much.
If anyone wants to check out the movie, it's on Tubi. It's free to watch. Um,
Absolutely. It was so easy to watch on that.
that's
And
great.
yeah, and they didn't cut off the commercials like in weird ways, because sometimes I worry
I
about that
know.
with some of these
Pretty
things.
good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, I was really impressed because I haven't watched many movies on Tubi before. So I was like, okay, yeah, they're good. This is legit.
Yeah, I was quite impressed too. Like, I don't know how they're doing it. Like, they must have someone watching and just saying, "Hey, make a cut here, make a cut there." Because
Mhm.
I was impressed too. I was like, "Oh, that's great. They let that whole scene go."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Didn't take you out of it.
Uh-huh. It didn't. So yeah, everyone who's listening, remember you can find it on Tubi. And thank you so much, Jonathan. This was great. And we'll end
Thank
it how
you.
we end every Film Gazers episode with later
Later,
taters.
taters.
Oh, wasn't that so exciting?
That was amazing.
No, we had so much fun doing this interview. We were really happy to hear that we were picking up what he was putting down. I'm glad that, yeah, like I said, I'm just glad that we picked up on the things, as we mentioned with the movie Thief, and just some things like that with the soundtrack. He conveyed what he wanted to. So,
Nailed it.
nailed it. So, with that, we're going to let Jess take it away with the You Googled Summary.
A black market marijuana dealer tries to make one final score before getting squeezed out of the business when cannabis becomes legal.
So after that exciting interview, we're now going to give our actual review of the film. If you haven't gathered from what you just heard, we were fans. Mm-hmm. This is a really well shot movie. It looks just like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, like clear or pristine, or kind of in terms of the quality. Like it's not something you expect from an indie film at times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just professional. I don't know if that's it. Yeah, it had like a polish. Yeah, it had like a polish to it.
It didn't feel my first thought was, whoa, this doesn't feel like a low budget movie at all when I first started watching it.
Exactly. So it begins with a narration opening. As we always say, we either love it or hate it. And this one, it felt a little like Wolf of Wall Street-ish. The narration part did to me, especially with the lead actor, like with his voice, with his accent, and and everything. But I did feel like it wasn't necessary because the like legalities and the regulations and everything that is kind of also like half the plot, basically of the story. It's what's making the main character do the things he's doing. So it does feel like the narration was needed. So the viewer, especially a viewer who isn't familiar, with the legalization laws in California specifically, you're going to kind of need to know some of these things. Because otherwise you would be like, oh, well, what's the point? What's he doing? Why? He's a delivery business and blah, blah. You would have kind of unanswered questions, I feel like, of just to understand the basic story.
With Vince's character, the foreshadowing moment when he was talking about you could put a
body in there.
Yeah. And I was like, Vince, you said it. You didn't check it.
I know. I love the foreshadowing of that part.
You can fit a body in there.
Because he's talking about these the weed barrels, essentially, when you're getting this introduction into kind of what his business is, what he's been doing. He's been a grower, but now he's
a shower.
Now he's a shower. Kind of, I guess. So he's stuck in like this weird legal limbo. Mm-hmm. And he's paying off guys and, these inspector people. And a theme throughout it is Vince's character, as I mentioned in the interview, like an inferiority complex. It seems like he's just really down and out, that he's not where he thought he would be in life.
Right, because he's like, I'm in my 40s.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
he said multiple times throughout the film of how he's like, oh, I'm still in an apartment, or, oh, I want the 401k and this and that. And that's when he was saying that why can I not remember this phrase?
Fortune
favors the bold.
Yes.
I don't know why I can't remember that. Like, go big or go home.
You redneck.
Is that the redneck?
You're like, tell a nigga nice, go big or go home.
America. Yeehaw. So anyway, yes, he very much is wanting, it seems like, a more traditional life, kind of, than the one he's been in. But I'm glad to find out that it was the tunnel vision, because otherwise I was almost feeling like, I'm like, is he just trying to make things worse for himself? Because he has a partner that you're also introduced to, but this partner, you also are told essentially that he's involved in other dealings, with kind of other kind of shady people. And this is when it all kind of just eventually overlaps. And there is a one last deal situation. He is just itching to, like, have a change of course in his business.
Career path.
Yeah, his career path. Because basically the trajectory they're about to lose kind of everything regardless. Which I could kind of understand, if you're the option is to kind of lose the business either way. I guess why wouldn't
Go
you?
out with a bang.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the situation he finds himself in.
Well, the fucked up thing is that he's like, yeah, fortune favors the bold. And that was right before, all that happened right before. And then she told him she was pregnant. And he's like, well, now, shit.
Yeah.
If you had told me this 3 days ago, probably would have let the business go. Could have became a grower.
As his character mentions to one of his friends even, but he almost talked about being alone doing it.
Yeah.
So
leaving her ass.
Yeah. So you do get some, definitely his more personal, motivations. It's definitely not like greed in that sense. It's not like this big last deal. Because again, as we mentioned in the interview, certain people were liking to call it action. Mm-hmm. And so in my mind, I kind of had went into this with a little bit of like thinking it was going to be a little more action based. Yeah, well, I really thought that he was gonna, like, the lead character would be, like, kicking some ass, I guess, in terms of like he's gonna the last deal, because I know he's supposed to be screwed over, in a sense. So I thought it was gonna be a more maybe like Dirty Harry vibe, or like Death Wish, like where he's like gonna come guns blazing or something. So I was pleasantly surprised when there was like different plot than that,
because they said that he was a boxer previously.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh, he's gonna kick their ass and save Bobby. And I was like, I was really shocked when Bobby died.
Yes,
I was really.
This movie does take you by surprise, and a couple of the twists that you don't expect, and it really is just the character just constantly reacting. And then along with the soundtrack and then the shots in between of just all the scenery, it all blends. It's paced and edited very, very well together. Because, we take through the story of him, like I said, building up of him wanting something different and wanting to take this chance, basically, and then he can kind of maybe do what he finally wants to do and make better money and be legit and not have to worry about all this bullshit. And he listens to his partner, the one with the other nefarious kind of career paths.
Yeah, the sinister side jobs.
And this is the first red flags where Bobby, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Bobby?
Damn it, Bobby! So he leads him on this path of, I know these Armenians, and they're trying to offload, basically what did they say it was? Unregulated or
I think it was unsellable weed.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah, essentially. With the new legalization. Well, I think because he has the delivery license, he could find the way around it. Because he's not a dispensary, but he's a delivery.
Yeah,
so I think, so I think that was, again, that's why I feel like the narration in the beginning was needed. Because even to me, I'm like, those laws are very confusing.
Right.
Like, I couldn't imagine trying to navigate them. So yeah, so that's where... He asked Bobby, like, how long have you known these guys? And then he's like, 3 weeks. He's like, 3 weeks. Like, I don't know. That's where I was like, So I was like, first red flag right there. Like, he hasn't actually been doing business with these guys for very long.
And he's like, oh, okay, 3 weeks. That sounds good.
I know, Vince is totally okay with it.
I was like, 3 weeks?
Because he's like...
that's nothing.
But it's a lot of money they want for all of this weed at once. And then he's like, how the hell am I going to get all that money? Like, that's the only thing. Like, sure, if I could sell it. And then he even asked them, I love the scene, by the way, with the Armenians. Like, that red, like, the tone, the red lighting kind of. And then them, like, across the seating. I thought it was a beautiful scene. Because it felt tense.
Yeah.
And I think the red helped it too. And then the questions he's asking, because I would have asked the same damn questions. Like, like, then why aren't you selling it?
And he was kind of unflappable in that scene.
Yeah, I agree. So this is when he's on the fence about taking the deal, because he knows he's going to have to figure out a way to get the money. He can't get a loan. He can't, do any of these traditional methods.
Right. That won't get him killed.
Well, yeah, and then he makes another really bad decision with another red flag, because he knows what Bobby's kind of doing for these guys. Like, Bobby's having a rough up. Like, he stabs someone with a screwdriver outside in the opening. Like,
and then gave the murder weapon or whatever, the weapon to Vince to get rid of.
And I like how unfazed Vince is by it.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like that is one thing where I feel like at times Vince feels like he is a part of this, like, lifestyle, but then when he starts getting too far into it,
he's like, but I'm not a dealer.
But I'm not that far into the lifestyle. So he gets in a little too deep. And mainly, because of trusting Bobby. You do find out after all of this, because Bobby kind of disappears, they do get the weed. He finally does it. He loans money from this guy he should not be taking money, or he loans. I guess he gets a loan. Yeah. He gets a loan from Bobby's actual, like, I guess, bosses. Employer, or whatever you would like to call him. And now he's in over his head, because that guy is like, okay, you have to pay me back. And like, it's like a week, because they think they're just going to be able to take this and sell this that quickly, I guess. Yeah. Like, either way, even that, I'd be like, oh, no, that's okay. A week is too quick of time. Like, even to sell the product, I think. Like, I'm a cautious person, though.
Oh, for sure. And I'm not a gambler either.
No, I am not either. So, already that seems steep. And then he also basically wants to get his delivery license, because apparently that's worth, they say, like, 80,000, but he's like, 50. Like, he's still, like, undercutting
right,
like, the value of even that. Yeah, so he's basically fucked, because the Armenians pull one over, and they have a person hidden in one of the weed barrels.
Literally called it.
Yeah. And they park what is supposed to be a van, and they even tell them, like, oh, we'll get the van back from you later. Like, even when they said that, I would have been like, this is all,
Right.
And they even show it again when they park the van, and then even Bobby and him are outside, and then Bobby's like, do you see those guys over there? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like,
and I was like, okay, either Bobby's being super paranoid, or he's being very suspicious, in my opinion.
Well, also,
to, like, draw attention to somebody out of nowhere.
I
feel
they weren't
like, even, like, talking about that.
Yeah, and you would think that, because Bobby knew what they do. Like,
right.
Like, he thought,
they double-cross everybody.
They double-cross everybody. That's the plan, as always. But he thought he was going to be different.
Yeah,
like,
he was going to be spared.
Like, at that point, you would be like, man, Bobby, you should have just, like, really hounded, like, oh, that's real suspicious. Even if you didn't want Vince to know, because,
right,
like, that's your actual friend, and you do like them, and you're like, I don't want him to know I got involved in all this, like, bullshit.
Just be like, go back later.
Yeah, like, oh, you should maybe just stay the night with the stuff, or, have some people. I don't know, something. I don't know.
Like,
that's where
go in there, shoot those fucking barrels.
That's like fish in a barrel.
Exactly, literally.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I just feel like in that moment, I do have to say Vince is a very confident person, even for him to feel like he's so behind, because he goes to sleep very easily and like will go home and go to bed during very like what would keep me up awake. Like if I just made that deal, I don't think I could have left it alone, locked anywhere. I would have been just sitting in the van the entire night until it was ready to go. Like
from my personal experience, like the day I saw the Black Widow, I literally went straight to bed. No dreams. Sometimes stress just makes you like
maybe
straight out.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Just overloaded, and then you just
your
crash.
senses overload. And you
I
just
know.
like,
I don't think I would have been able to, because even when I'm writing, I'm looking at my notes. That's when I was just like, why does no one guard the van? So I thought that was really funny. This movie definitely, a lot of the scenes had me, like out loud being like, oh my God, or, like asking these questions, like, no, don't do that. It felt very interactive in the way that you are responding to the movie.
In my notes I wrote, Bobby, no. Oh man, then throw him in the shit water.
Yes, because eventually Bobby gets got.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it was pretty realistic looking.
It was very intense. They slit his throat. And this is when I definitely was like, okay, this movie is way grittier than I was anticipating it to be when I went into it. And so I was pleasantly surprised with that, because of course, I like my grit. I like my grits.
I like my grits. Cheesy. I did like after he killed Bobby, he ran out and he grabbed a payphone. And I was like, there were still payphones?
Oh, yeah. Good catch. I guess I didn't even yeah, because you really don't see payphones that often anymore.
I was like, I don't remember when they officially died, but...
No, yeah, because I guess I just assumed maybe he was on a cell phone. I don't even know.
It was like...
Yes. Oh my God, duh.
And then when you said that the movie was beautiful, what first came to my mind was when he goes back in to see Tabitha and she's like the sun's setting and she's sitting on the couch and all of that golden light is shining through. I was like, and they went and hugged. I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And then outside you could see the sunset. Yeah,
all of the scenes were very like set up well, and the way the light worked throughout the film. And then I loved all the night scenes too. Mm-hmm. Like all of the light looked like so good. It was caught like so well.
Lit, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and it wasn't like too glaring or anything like that. That sometimes I feel like you get in some indie films. Sometimes the lighting is the one thing that feels a little off. Mm-hmm. This did not feel that way.
Right. Like you said, polished.
Yes. So as we get further along though, and he loses Bobby, like shit is getting real. But Vince then still is like, he's a businessman. He'll change. He'll understand, right? I was double crossed.
He likes me.
The guy's like,
the balls on this guy.
Yeah, and I believe that's also that's what had instigated the death of Bobby.
Yeah,
because then the guy's like, he's like, what the fuck do you think, like, dude, seriously? So that's when I realized I'm like, oh, okay, so Vince is like kind of involved in some stuff, but not like that involved.
Yeah, he's obviously very naive when it comes to dangerous men.
Yeah. And a little too trusting of them.
Yeah, something. I guess he thinks that they bonded.
So, so watching him just go, like, devolve, basically. Because also at that time, as you mentioned, his girlfriend, like, she's discovering that she's pregnant, kind of. And they haven't been getting along. He has a lot of jealousy going on as well. Because she's, like, kind of pursuing her own acting career, it sounds like.
He's, like, projecting.
Yeah. And then he's like, who's that guy? And, being a little jealous. So eventually it leads to, and this is where I was not expecting it at all, because, again, it was marketed so action. So I thought during this moment, like when we start getting towards the end, I thought he was going to be the one guns blazing or something like that. No, he hires a hitman. Yeah. And I was so not expecting that. It was just such a a twist that I was like, oh, okay.
And especially that Carter was the one that had
The connections.
Yeah, the connections. I was like, whoa, really, you?
Because he seems like he would be like a guy at the
He's just
barbecue,
a friendly pilot.
like waving, like flipping a burger, kind of. I got that vibe from him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can find you a hitman.
He's
No
like, you want a
problem.
hitman? I can find you a hitman. You want a tow? I can get you a tow. The hitman, though, I just thought it was so funny that he got caught that quickly.
Yeah, again, was that Vince like underestimating? Because like earlier, there's a scene
He's
where
like, there's like 4 guys, no problem.
Yeah. Well, and in the neighborhood they're in, I'm like, you're parked real close, bro.
Yeah.
Because then they find his
And he's
ass
just
dead
sipping his
in there,
coffee,
right?
like,
Yeah, I know.
Stakeout.
I was like, I don't know if
I think if I was a hitman, I would have had a fake badge and been like, oh yeah, I got SWAT coming on your ass if you don't let me go.
Would you say it just like that?
I said, oh yeah.
You almost sounded like Dale Gribble.
Dale is secretly my favorite.
Oh, that's funny.
He's passionate.
He is. Yeah, so it ends very crazy. Like, it gets even more chaotic towards the end. And I would like to say that it very much is falling in line with the Mary Jane March of the other movie we had just watched too, Inherent Vice, where you have that chaotic, the guy just caught up in a moment kind of thing, and making some bad decisions along the way. He sends his girlfriend off when he decides to do all this, but that doesn't matter. And, they've killed the guy. They go and they kidnap her.
Mm-hmm. They kill Carter, don't they?
I believe so. Oh my gosh, no, I can't remember all of a sudden.
I'm pretty sure they did.
I mean, I'm assuming so, because that's who she was with. Right? That's who she was going. Yeah, so you're probably right. So he's definitely in a bind now. And so he does show up, basically, to save her, at least.
When she was trying to seduce him at his mother's ranch, the
other girl.
Yeah, the hired whatever.
Help.
Yes. Was that when Tabitha was with Carter and all that shit was going on? Is that when that was going on?
Oh, maybe.
Scandalous.
Scandalous. But he didn't do it.
No, I know.
I think that was to show that he was
loyal,
and he wasn't going to give in to any temptation. While shit was going down, he had to get that gun and get
vision.
the fuck out of there. Yeah,
He's like, that's how much tunnel vision he has. There's titties in his face, and he resisted. The ultimate temptation.
He resisted them titties.
Resist. She's like, you don't know what you're missing. Smoking a cigarette. I was like, he don't want to kiss you. You smell like an ashtray.
She tastes like cigarettes. And he wouldn't be wrong. Yeah, so... Because, they have his ass go all the way. He goes back home because we do know he was a grower. Like, he's from that whole environment and area. And he's coming for his daddy's gun. And he is going to fuck shit up now. It's like, you're like, okay.
He's like, it's the one gun I don't mind if it gets tied back to me. Or to his dad. Because I think he's dead.
Yeah. And you could say it was stolen.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. So it does culminate in a struggle sequence. And some shit goes down. And... a murder.
Most foul.
He kills his ass. Mm-hmm. And saves this girl. And then it does end.
Well, I mean, she kind of finishes him off.
Really. Well, yeah, that's true. Yes. Because, with the struggle, and then she ends up getting the gun. Yeah, you're right. Either way, they take care of it. Together.
He ends up choking on his own blood, not Vince. Mm-hmm. Because he told Vince that he was going to...
Poetic justice.
Yes. Justice is served.
Bam.
Hot.
And there is a bit of a happily ever after.
Yeah.
he ends up growing again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also was just like, how did you cover up that murder? Because I really wanted to see that.
I know. I guess nobody gave a shit because of who they were.
I don't know.
Like, there's like 6 people dead.
I was like, oh, that would have been interesting to see, like, how we got out of it, too. But it was a perfect end to the story. I mean, he basically, it went completely full circle, and he was going back to kind of doing what he liked.
And he's like, I don't need to put on airs. Yeah. I'm a grower, not a shower. That came full circle as well.
But all right, so that concludes The Last Deal.
This very special episode.
Yes, and I would watch it again.
Oh, yeah. I already watched it twice so far.
Yeah, there you go. I know, I did too. So remember, guys, you can stream it on Tubi. And it was also available on Encore and Amazon if you would just like to purchase it as well and support. I believe you can rent it as well on there. I watch it on Tubi, though. So
yes, same.
Check it out. And as always, you can find us at Film Gazers on the social medias. And if you're interested in the Discord, that is called the Film Gazers Podcast Community. And we are on there.
Occasionally. I've been slacking. I'm sorry.
I know. It has been busy. And we've had this lined up and everything. So maybe get back to focusing on, on some more of the fun things. Don't forget, we have Animation April coming up next month. So we just want to thank again the director, Jonathan. Thank you so much for doing this with us. We really appreciate it. And to all the cast and crew of The Last Deal. Also to Jamie on Instagram for reaching out to us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this was a really fun episode to do. And now that we've done one, we're hoping that maybe this could be something we might look into doing more of, and maybe reaching out to more indie films and everything ourselves as well.
Yeah, 'cause it was a lot of fun.
It was, yeah.
The research behind was fun.
Oh my gosh, the research was so fun. The
research is always the best part for
I
me.
had so much fun doing that. I watched so many of the interviews and the videos, and I read a lot of articles, and then, like I said, even thinking back to old movies myself, and then being like, oh yeah, and that and this, and so it was just a lot of fun and sparks more of that interest. Like I said, we're going into year 4 now, so maybe it's good we've got the other stuff down. Maybe now we're
branching a little bit.
Branch
more.
a little bit, yeah. But we're, slow growers. Little late bloomers. So with that, time to hit the dusty trail.
Until next time.
Later, taters.